Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Edmonton, Alberta, and I have the joy, nay, the privilege of working with Judy Friesen tonight on another episode of Age Reversing Health. When Judy and I started this, we had to come up with something that would pique your interest. And I think Age Reversing Health has got to be a very captivating statement. But we not only say it, we can show it. And on tonight's show, we have a gentleman who's going to share with you live how Lifewave technology has changed his life. Let's get the show started right now. I just wanted those three pumps of that heart to be heard. I hope you could hear it. Welcome to Age Reversing Health. My name is Carl Krebs, and tonight with me, as always, my co-host and my friend and my knowledgeable friend, 38-year health coach, Judy Friesen, joins me, as always, in studio. And we also have a guest tonight. I look at that video, and it just warms my heart to know that we have a technology that is changing people's lives. We have technology that is enabling people to live the life again, the one that they used to live, the one that is pain-free, the one that has more energy that we had when we were younger, and the one that will give you better sleep and much, much more. The simple technology of Lifewave technology is unmistakable. And after 20 years in the market, there is no doubt that Lifewave is the product that people are looking to. Many people come to us as brand partners, as people who are talking about Lifewave. And the thing that is reoccurring, they said, we hear a couple things. One thing we hear often is, my doctor told me there's nothing I could do. And that's when Lifewave technology becomes real. And it's not just to deal with certain conditions, because as people talking about Lifewave, we're very clear that our patches are not intended to cure, diagnose, or treat any disease. But what they can do is regenerate the body. And that's when Judy and I, in concert, decided that we would name this show Age Reversing Health, because that's what it's all about. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Judy to the stage, and we will welcome our guest in a few minutes. Judy Friesen, welcome to the stage, and welcome to another episode of Age Reversing Health.
Hey there, Carl. Good to be with you again this lovely Thursday. I am really excited about this episode, and I think our guests are going to have a real treat hearing from Jonathan, who has quite the story. You know what? When you were talking about the heart to heart, it made me realize that what we are talking about today is no hype, it's about heart. And the other alliteration with the H is that we give hope, not pipe dreams, but real hope, not false hope. Because when you start to help the body heal itself, you will start to see major things improve on the body's timetable, not yours. But we have something here that is undeniable. 20 years this company's been around. It's not a fly-by-night company. And I'm really excited that we have something that's proven and that is making a difference in people's lives, so you can get active again, you can enjoy your grandchildren again, you can volunteer more, whatever the Lord leads you to do. We have an answer here that is helping thousands and thousands of people around the world.
I think it's so important that you mentioned hope, and thank you for bringing that up, because I've said it so many times, and I know as a person of faith, we truly can't live without hope, because the person living in the most abject state of poverty can live there with hope. But there are people who live in castles and mansions who can't live without hope. And, it shows that we are community, we are people, we are soul-filled individuals. and we want to connect with people. That's our desire as a community of people, is to connect heart to heart with people. And our founder, CEO, and the inventor of all the patches, David Schmidt, always shares his heart. And he actually went as far as to name the whole convention that we had a couple of years ago, Heart to Heart. How did that, I mean, for you as a person of faith and sharing your heart as a 38-year health coach, how do you do that? How important is that you connect with people heart to heart?
Well, yeah, I mean, people don't know you really care until you show you care about them and about their issues. And one of the biggest issues that people talk about, other than say the weather or about some sports league, is
About their health. Absolutely. It's going to be about their health every time. So I don't know if you can hear Judy, but there's a moment here right now where we can't hear you. But it is so important. It is so important that there we go, that we share about our personal experiences. And
difficulties.
Judy and I have said many times, yeah, there we go. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, you've
Yeah,
go
we're
ahead.
okay. We're back. One of the things we committed to was that we weren't just going to give information. We were going to get people to tell their story. Tell the listeners about our guest tonight a little bit, and then we're going to bring him on and let him tell his story.
Right, I won't steal his thunder, but I met Jonathan on our sort of our weekly um, uh, Zoom meeting that we have with a lot of the senior level people that are sharing about Lifewave. And Jonathan is one of those people that has an amazing story. And I just thought our listeners needed to hear about how this product, primarily the X39, the patches that are in this envelope, how that has really changed his life. And he's got some really good proof. It's not just what he thinks, it's actually what the doctors have shown him and what the blood work has shown. So let's bring him on, Carl, and we'll hear something really amazing from Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, good to have you.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm shaking sitting here with these stars. I'm so thankful that you invited me. I hope that I can not start fumbling with my words while we're talking.
No problem. I
Jonathan,
know.
what
Go ahead.
what we allow here is for you to be as human as possible.
Good.
And
Good.
whatever happens,
Right.
happens.
That's
And
right.
somebody is going to be blessed by your story. So, Jonathan, I'm going to highlight you here. Tell us a bit about yourself, a little thumbnail sketch of, start with your, where you're calling in from, and how did you come into contact with this wonderful product called Lifewave?
Oh my goodness. This almost brings me to tears, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a man, but I tell you what, men cry too. So my name is Jonathan Beal. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama. I am now living in Conroe, Texas, which is about 35 miles north of Houston, Texas. A good friend of mine, Micah Curso, we call him Mr. Passion. He and our other friend, Lavelle Scotton. Mike called me one day about 4.5, maybe not quite, a little over 4.5 years ago. He said, Jonathan, guess what? And I'm like, what, Mike? He said, we found it. I'm like, what are you talking about, Mike? He said, listen, we found the fountain of youth. Call Lavelle, call him now. He'll tell you all about it. So my background, I'm the youngest of 11. And my background is in the medical field. So I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot that worked in the ER. And so Lavelle was telling me, and he showed me this little thing, and I called it a Band-Aid. And he said, man, this thing is amazing. He said, look, do your research. So I went and I started reading about it. And I saw where they did the clinical studies, and they said they had phenomenal results with people's blood pressure. Well, that was my main concern at the time, even though I did have an irregular, my heart rate was not beating correctly. So I said, wow, I'm like, what if this thing actually works? And you know something? I was so skeptical that I believed it might work and I didn't try it. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't make any sense. I put it in my cabinet for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And one day my blood pressure was so high, and
wow.
I'm like, what is going on? I drank my water, I ate correctly, I took my medication, but my blood pressure, and I had this headache. And something inside me, that thing that tells you to do good things, it said to me, Jonathan, don't you remember you have those patches? Go ahead and try it. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I tried it. I put it on the back of my neck, right where I have mine right now. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And within 15 minutes, I got this energy rushing through my chest. And I'm thinking, oh, this is just my head. I want it to work. But I noticed I had energy. So I went and walked about 2.5 miles. And as I'm coming back home, I realized that my knees weren't hurting too bad. Okay, so let me just hurry up and start talking because I know we don't have a lot of time. So my knees weren't hurting so bad. I'm like, wow, maybe this thing actually works. So I tried it again the next day. And within 6 to 8 weeks, I had to actually stop taking my blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure began to bottom out. And I'm like, what? This is what? So I scheduled it for 6 weeks. I'm like, I'm going to take this for 6 weeks, and then I'm going to schedule my doctor's appointment. So on the 6th week, he can check me out and I can see if this thing is for real. So it ended up to be 8 weeks because my wife had to work, and so I had to reschedule it. So 8 weeks of wearing just the X39 stem cell patch. I went to my cardiologist, and that morning I forgot. I normally would take my blood pressure medicine, but I didn't take it. I forgot. I got on the road and I'm thinking, oh no, I forgot to take my medicine. So I get there, they run tests on me. They did the blood pressure. I'm sitting in the office, I'm waiting. You know how they do you. They put you in the office, it's freezing. It looks like everybody left the office and you're wondering, am I the only one here? Finally, he comes in.
They're sweating you out. They're sweating you out.
Yeah. What's going on? So he comes in smiling. He says, Mr. Beal, he said, all of your tests went really well. And oh, your blood pressure. And I'm thinking, oh no, it's high. He's about to start giving me more medicine. I hate taking pills. I've been taking pills for almost 16 years. I don't want to do this anymore. He said, Mr. Beal, he said, what is going on with your blood pressure? He said, it's better than it's ever been since you've come to see me. What are you doing different? I bent over and I showed it to him. I said, this is a photobiomodulation patch. I said, it works with the infrared heat of my body. It goes into the patch and sends a message back into my body, and my body responds. That's the only thing I can tell you. I don't know a whole lot about it. All I know, Doc, is that while I've been taking this for the past 8 weeks, there were times I couldn't take my medicine because it was bottoming out. He said, wow, really? He said, listen, he said, if that's doing that for you, there's no sense in you taking the medicine. I've been off it for 4.5 years. Guys, that's not the end of it. I had energy from the beginning. I had stamina from the beginning. In 8 weeks, I got off my medication that I was on for almost 16 years. And guess what? I had this arrhythmia problem with my heart. A year and a half later, it quit. My body responds. My body responds to the message this patch sends into it, and it responds really well. I'm so happy. I'm 61 years old. I go out and do something that I thought I could never do again, because when I was young, I played basketball like I was getting paid. I am now back on the court playing with guys 40 years younger than me, and they can't believe I'm 61. I'll be 62 in October.
Wow.
You know what?
That's my story. I'm sticking by it.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Judy. I know you're full of questions like me.
Yeah, really. Well, that is amazing, and it didn't take very long, but it didn't happen overnight. It took a number of weeks for the body to repair, right? And in while you were doing that, while you were putting the patch on, you were doing it in the morning, and then how long did you leave the patch on,
I left it on for 12 hours. And let me tell you what I
Jonathan?
did. I made sure I drank the water that I needed. I stayed away from too salty food, and,
Yep.
and I ate good food. I love salads, and I exercised. And let me tell you something, Judy, Carl, every time I exercise, I recover faster. Listen, guys, I'm blown away. And look, I can't hardly talk. I'm blown away because when I first started exercising with it, it took me a day or so to recover. And I'm blown away because when I was younger, it took me at least 2 or 3 days a day. Now, listen, last week I went and mowed. We have a new young lady at our church. She's a single mother of 2 daughters. She just got this house. Her grass is really high. So I went over there, and she's on about an acre of land. So I could only do about half of it because it started raining and everything. But I got this push mower, and I cut half an acre of land with a push mower. I told her, I said, I'll come back and do the rest another day, but I can't come back. I got to go home. I went home and rested for an hour and a half, and then remembered my wife said, hey, our backyard looks pretty bad. I got up with my energy, and I went and cleaned out my backyard. Guys, this thing is amazing. I cannot believe I am
Yeah.
so happy. I'm so happy to be young again, guys.
Well, this is an example
Jonathan, I
of
want to
what we're
ask
talking
you.
about on this show.
Yeah,
Go
Carl.
ahead, Carl.
I want to ask you. You're also a father.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have, if I may ask, please?
So I was married before, and I married a second time. My first marriage, I have 3 older children, 30, 28, and my son will be 27 in July. Then I got married again. What was I thinking? I've got a 5-year-old now, and he'll be 6 in July as well. So I have 4 children, and I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I got to have that energy, and I got it.
You
You
know,
can't outrun me, man.
Jonathan, you're not the only man to retrace his steps back to a young father's role. But I can tell you by observing you, and we're very close in age, we're 1 year apart, my friend. It is amazing to be able to interact with such bundles of energy that you can get down on the floor with them and play with them. And you can also go on the court and teach your kids how to shoot a basketball. You've got it going on both ends. And this is what we're talking about. When we get back our energy that we've already given up on, that's part of the age reversing experience, is it not?
It truly is. And you know what, Carl? I thank the Lord for this. And guess who else thanks the Lord for this? David Schmidt. He said that everybody's giving him credit. He said, but God downloaded this information into his mind. And when he started putting this out, there were people that have a whole lot of money that like to do things differently that tried to buy this from him for billions of dollars. And he said, no, because the people will not get it if you take it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to give it to the people who need it. Thank you, David Schmidt. I am young again because you chose to do the right thing. You have integrity.
Wow. Jonathan, we are so pleased to know that God's given you your life back, your health back. You're able to mow lawns. And I don't know if you finished what you were saying, but I think what you had told us is that when you did do that extra mowing for that single mother, normally the next day you'd be really sore. Instead, because of this technology that you're wearing, you didn't have the recuperation days that you needed normally when you were a little bit younger. In fact, you didn't have any soreness, right?
None. And it was only hours before I went in my own backyard and cleaned it up.
Wow. So, Jonathan, the other thing that I wanted to ask you is that you've been with this company now using the products for like at least 4 years or so. When did you decide to 4.5 years? When did you decide to pivot from just buying it for yourself to starting to help people to get it and growing your own home business? When did all that start? How did that start?
Judy, I'm gonna let you know. When the doctor took me off my blood pressure medicine, I was like, Lord, you have a sense of humor. See, I'm the youngest in my family, and my parents were old when they had me. So I watched everybody, even my siblings, begin to get old. I watched my parents pass away. And my mother, she was a Mother Teresa to me. I watched how she cared for people and loved and took care of people. And that, I was spent more time with her than anyone. Elizabeth Beale was she was my hero. And I became more like her. And so when I found out that this thing worked, I was like, God, I always told you I wanted to be able to heal people. You have a sense of humor. You brought me into this company so that I can show people that their bodies can reverse aging by wearing this amazing technology. And that from that point on, I called everybody. I called Lavelle. I told him, Lavelle, they took me off my medicine. It's because of the patch. I called my siblings. They took me off the medicine. It's because of this patch. I called everybody. I said, I've got to share this with the world.
Absolutely fantastic. I know we share a common faith, and part of that faith is to share the good news when we discover it. And the good news is that, we understand who God is. We understand what he's done for us. And we understand that at some point, at some time, we're going to move on to another life. But what is so interesting here, I'm going to bring Judy Friesen back onto the stage. We just lost you for a moment. And Jonathan will join us, I'm sure, in a minute. But what I'm so sharing is about our faith. When we come across something that is so good as this is, we can't help but share it. Recently, I listened to a doctor speak, and I love what he said. It would be unkind not to share. Because we care, we do share. And that's the whole purpose of why we've brought Jonathan on here to share his story, what you've shared, what others have shared. And we're going to continue to bring, people here on the program. And we're hoping Jonathan will jump back in here in a minute as he regains his audio and video. But that's what it's about, Judy. We have to share because we care.
Exactly. Like you wouldn't keep anything that is life altering or life saving from someone, just like you share incidental things like the best restaurant or the best movie. And so why not share it? And the fact that Lifewave is generous enough to compensate us for our time and effort in sharing it with people is just a blessing in disguise. But you know what, Carl? I would be sharing this with people every day, even if I didn't get paid a dime. It's worth it to see people's lives change, see the spark come in their eyes. Like we saw in Jonathan's face, you could see the joy. And not only we started the program talking about hope, but it also gives joy. And people who are down, who are depressed, Carl, that one of the largest groups of people that are suffering post-COVID are those who are having emotional and mental issues. That there's people out there that are just down and depressed, and they don't want to be. They don't know why. And we've got something that can actually improve a person's hope and joy and countenance. It does something both in the molecular level and in the whole body. So I'm with you. We can't stop sharing if we've got something that's real.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. Even if I weren't in the business and wasn't being compensated, something as good as this cannot be kept privately, no more than when you discover, and this doesn't compare at all, a good restaurant that serves good food at a good price with good service. You want to tell people, here we have a product that can literally change your lives and change it for the good. Because we know from this story that Jonathan is telling us, and I think he's back with us. Let's bring him back on. Hello, Jonathan.
Hey,
Glad
I'm
you
not.
could rejoin us. It's all good, my friend. We roll with what we got with technology. We were just sharing how it would be unkind to not share it. It would be actually cruel to not share, knowing that what you had, what Judy had, what so many other people have had is real. You said earlier, it's not up here, it's back here, and it's affecting the whole body. What an incredible thing. And just by the way you speak, we can tell that's real.
Thank you. Thank you. This is such a blessing, my friend. This is such a blessing. I I I get overwhelmed sometimes, and I stutter and I can't even get my words out. I'm just so happy. And when I share it with my friends and people who see that there's a difference in my life, and it changes their life. I have a good friend that I shared it with almost at the beginning when I began this. She got it. She got involved. Both her and her husband, they were blown away in like 90 days. They were taken off of their medication because they had problems with sugar. They were taken off their medication, and my friend, he's began to start having hairs pop up on his head again. He was blown away. So when someone gets this, and then they get results, I cry. I literally cry because I want to help so many people. I really do.
Well, we're going to make this available to you to share. And streaming at the bottom right now is a dedicated email that Judy and I will service. And if any of you are asking and wondering, who is Jonathan Beale? I need to talk to that guy. He's got something. He said something that I'm working through. Then please email us at doctalk2024@gmail.com. We'll send that on to Jonathan. And of course, the more medical questions, I always defer to Judy Friesen because 38-year health coach. Jonathan, in a few minutes here, just close out what you would say to anybody that's sitting there, scratching their head, just sort of kicking the tires, not sure whether they would join this or even try the patch. What would you say to them in just a few minutes here?
Listen, my friend, I would tell them this. 30 years ago, would you have believed that we're walking around with a computer in our pocket? 30 years ago, would you have believed that? So we have a computer in our pocket. 30 years ago, this would have taken up buildings. This amount of what can hold this would take up buildings. So why can't we have a technology in patch form, a wearable technology that will help your body remember what it was like when you were 20? Why not? What have you got to lose except whatever it is that you're dealing with? You got nothing to lose because we have a money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
words.
Judy, a final question for Jonathan before we graciously, let him go on to his business. Maybe he's got another lawn to mow. What do you got, another lawn to mow, Jonathan, or what do you got
Listen,
for the
man.
rest of the evening?
Listen. If I had the time right now, the sun is setting here, so I don't have the time to do it. But I'm gonna go play with my boy because he's asking me, "What's going on, Daddy?" I said, "Hold on, Daddy's in the meeting."
That's great. Well, I just want to say thank you. I don't have another question for you, but I want to say thank you, Jonathan, for sharing. I know that God is using you to bring health and hope to other people, like what Carl and I want to do. And
Yes.
we know that there'll be lots of people who will not have even realized that here you are with a medical background, and you understand about medicine, you understand about blood pressure, you understand about side effects. And here you are, you've opened up your mind and your heart to try something that is brand new, that we don't understand. It's a new technology, and you had put it aside for a while, and you're glad that you put that patch on so that you could experience what happened. So thank you again, Jonathan, for coming onto our podcast, and we would be happy to have you again and hear a little bit more about how you can actually help other people to make a residual income if they're struggling financially. why not get your health and get some wealth at the same time? There's nothing wrong with doing that. So thank you again. And we will just look forward to hearing back from you in a short while.
Thank you. Anytime, you guys let me know. I love this. I love to share the good news. Thank you. Thank you, Carl.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. We're definitely going to be checking back with you in a while. So thanks again, brother, and have a good rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Be careful, Carl. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Judy, I can't think, I don't know how to end that except to say, show's over, but I want to say something because that story is a story that could be anybody else's story.
Yes. Yes, it could. It can be anybody else's story. The actual description of what you might be suffering with might be different than Jonathan's. It might not be high blood pressure. It might not be heart arrhythmia stuff. But whatever the issue is, we're not treating, diagnosing, curing, or suggesting these patches do that. What we're saying is give your body a chance to heal itself. Put the patch on and watch what happens. That's it. Like Jonathan said, just try it and see what happens. It'll happen for everybody if they are consistent and drink their water. It will happen.
Amen. Amen. Well, Judy, thanks again. We're at the bottom of the time here. This was great. I look forward to bringing Jonathan on again for a follow-up as to what's happening in his life, because this is a progression. We don't have a product here that you simply wear it for a little while and it's done. We do have people who say, I don't deal with that problem anymore. It's not there. That condition has improved. But Lifewave is a lifestyle. And I know as a health coach, you know that. When people say, well, how long do I have to do this? Well, why would you stop doing it if it's bringing you the results? Why would you quit?
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Judy. We'll see you again here next week, Thursday. I know our audience was blessed by this show. Thanks for bringing Jonathan on. All right. It's my absolute pleasure to do this show because in the process, we get to share another story. And a colleague of mine, him and his wife say it often, we get to wake up to wonderful things every day. We get to wake up to miracles happening every day. Well, I want to draw a distinction between the miracles that some of you may be acquainted with, and those are the miracles of Jesus healing. They were truly miracles in the sense that he had a healing ability. And God is the author of everything. He is the author of our healing too. We make no bones about that. And I love what David Schmidt shares, that he believes his gifting is from God. That is the most the most humble CEO and one of the richer men that I've ever come into contact with that would put his faith out there so much. So we're simply inviting you to come in a little closer, investigate the claims, listen to the testimonies, and try something. And as Jonathan said, it even has a money-back guarantee. So, you know, there are three things you need in life to live. You need food, you need shelter, and you need clothing. And those basics you might be able to navigate around no matter how hard, tough the times are. But I tell you one thing, Mother said it, your father said it, and we now see it, that your health is your greatest wealth. And to lose your health after establishing your wealth is to give all your wealth back. Why not get ahead of that curve? Why not actually join this Lifewave community and find out how you too can experience regeneration and age-reversing health? To me, that's something that really matters. God bless you all, and we'll see you again here next Thursday on another episode of Age Reversing Health.